Well, salutations, kindred spirits. Welcome to another exclusive tutorial. And in this one, we're going to talk about an old trick, one that's been around for hundreds of years. I'm talking about a Hofzinser effect. And this was inspired from a short that I shot using this gimmick, a Hofzinser gimmick, and we'll talk more about that in a second. Heck, let's talk about it all in a second. First, we'll look at the trick in question, the 19th century transposition. Now, perhaps you'll find it interesting that this effect is older than the light bulb. It dates back to the early 1800s when Dr. Johann Hofzinser, the Australian card conjurer, would develop unique applications to transform playing cards. And hey, that's a card trick from the 19th century. I hope you liked it. Well, there you go. It doesn't get much cleaner than that regarding a two-card transpo. Let me give a little history on what inspired this. I was at the St. Louis gathering, the seniors tour a couple weeks ago. I picked up this package, the Hofzinser Aces, which is a Tom Gagnon release. In this package, you get four Hofzinser cards, and we're going to take a close-up look at the Hofzinser cards behind the scenes, but it was this package that inspired this process. That's a great trick if you want to look it up on the market. It's worth your attention. And enough of the prelude. Let's go behind the scenes. I'll give you the full scoop. All right, here's the things you need to do the 19th century card transposition. A normal 9 of spades. This is the only normal card I used. This is a double facer, so it has an ace of hearts on one side, a 9 on the other. I just glued two cards together for this effect. This is the secret sauce here. This, as mentioned in the presentation, is a Hofzinser gimmick, and let me turn the flashlight on here to get the illumination. This gimmick shows a 9 when the light is shined on it from behind, but take that away from the light source, turn it over, and it will look like the ace. So this is a Hofzinser gimmick, and now you know what that is. Pretty devious way to create the illusion of a second identity. So let's turn this off and start with the beginning, the setup. Now, I had this phone set in this position, and unbeknownst to you, what I had was that regular 9 of spades hidden behind the phone. I had the light on, shining at the table. This was here. Now, there is a universe, I'm sure, where you can arrange this condition from a deck in play, where you arrange the 9 at the front. As you get your cell phone, you're turning the flashlight on, and you can get this card in play. This is going to be up to you, as I have not flushed this effect out to that point, but I do think there's some great knowledge, some good information to share with you. We're just going to continue with how I filmed it for the short presentation. Now, in addition to having this card, and we'll just assume I'm holding it here while I go through the opening number here. In addition to this being hidden, I start with this position. The audience sees two cards, an ace and a 9, and unbeknownst to them, this is a double facer. I lay that card to the table as I gently revolve this card face down briefly. I just want to show a little bit more back here, as much back as I can show to dissuade the audience from thinking there's a secret thing happening, a gaff. Now, remember, I'm holding the phone here. As I gesture towards the light, I'm going to execute what is really based on a Hofzinser move as well, the wild card move. So I'm going to use the Hofzinser gaff, the ace. It's not a regular ace, it just looks that way. I'm going to use the Hofzinser gaff to scoop up the double facer and then gesture towards the light, and then I'm going to place this card face down. Everyone will assume that to be the 9, but it's the Hofzinser card. So this is our opening switch, our opening swindle. Say a trick with two cards, show the 9, gesture, scoop, point towards the light, and then table what is apparently the 9, but in fact the ace. Now, what we're going to do is apparently put this 9 behind the phone. Let me kind of expose this. As I go behind the phone, as I drop it, I pivot the card into a longitudinal position. This is a longitudinal palm, very much related to the Tenkai palm. For my hand size, my thumbs are huge, I like to use the longitudinal, and this kind of conceals the card from the front angles if you're not familiar with this kind of palm. Either one of these will work. The Tenkai kind of goes in from this position as you go down, and for the longitudinal, if you want the work, it's held between the thumb and the first finger. It's the second finger that pivots it into the spot that it needs to go. And note that this happens, let me go back to with the flashlight being on. Let's get my emails off of the phone. And this position, so I'm showing the card, I'm coming behind the phone, it pivots into longitudinal, and then the phone drops to the table, ideally exposing a little bit of the card. You don't want the whole 9 showing. Now, while that's going on, I'm going to lap this card. So I'm going to drop it out of view, and that's going to really just clean everything up. So let me just walk through the whole skit just one more time briefly and see if there's a way where I can leave this in view. Normally, I just held it here with my finger. I think this is a fair frame. I'm going to hide it here so you guys hold it here so you guys can see the action once more. So I'm going to hold it here. 9 and the ace displayed to the audience. Show the 2 cards. Gently show the ace face down. Gesture towards the camera, executing the Hofzinser wild card switch. As you apparently place the ace behind the phone, it goes into a longitudinal palm and is subsequently lapped, and that is as the phone is dropped to the table. Maybe leave a little bit of the card showing. The transformation, and this happens after we use the Hofzinser card, you show the audience that it's the 9. The transformation I used was my tic-tac turnover. So I held it between the 2 fingers, extended, and a sharp breath pointed at the uppermost non-index corner. The second finger, the birdie finger, acts as a brake. So when you execute you puff on that, it's going to spin 180, and this is just kind of a dynamic way to get the effect happening in the audience's mind. That's the card they thought was there. This is the card they thought was there. That's the 19th century transposition, and I hope that made sense. All right, so now you know what I know about this 2-card transposition. Heck, I just made the thing up this morning. I'm sure there's lots of avenues you can go with this, especially getting that 9 loaded onto the phone secretly, or maybe you can use some other cover for that secret moment. I don't know. This is your turn to run with the ball. I'm done here. I thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. See you guys on the next one. Ciao for now.